Is FEPI as good or as bad as people say? We did some comparisons, FEPI versus all competition in its space, and I want to show you those results. This is Mike, the tactical stock scalper. All right. So I'm going to go over the funds first that we compared FEPI to. FEPI versus QQQY, FEPI versus QYLD, FEPI versus the triple Q's, baby, FEPI versus JEPQ, and FEPI versus YMAG. There were some really surprising things that we found when we compared them. I thought anyway. And I need to thank Tara Slayer for letting me bug him for a bunch of charts this morning. Thank you, Tara. I appreciate you, man. So, I'm looking for a fund that I can set it and forget it, right? That will exploit the NASDAQ in the technology sector. And so does FEPI fit into that? We'll find out here. I hear a lot of talk about FEPI, and it's kind of like people really like it or they don't like it at all. It holds, it does covered calls, right? And it holds the shares of the underlyings that it does cover calls on. I think that's great. There is, something that could be wrong if there was some kind of big crash or big correction. They hold the shares. What would happen then if the shares tank and are trying to sell covered calls on them? I don't know, but all we can do is base it on total return since inception of FEPI, and then some of these, like YMAG, came after FEPI. So, let's get into it. FEPI versus QQQY. Now, this is with $10,000 invested. When these funds launched, we did them on the same exact day, okay? FEPI, you would have $11,165 if you invested $10,000. QQQY, you would have $10,738. So that's, about $400 roughly, the difference. So FEPI definitely has a better total return than my girl, QQQY. Brings a little tear to my eye. We did these on my Discord server. If you want a link to the Discord server, I'll leave a link in the description. Okay. Next, FEPI versus QYLD, the grandfather of all of them. Now, for some reason, the chart wouldn't pull up when we did dividends reinvested. So on this one, we just had to do share price, but it would be the same with dividends reinvested as far as who won and who lost. If you invested $10,000 on FEPI's inception, you would have, well, in this comparison anyway, 11,174. QYLD, you would have 10,741. So just slightly, by like $3 better than QQQY as far as this comparison goes. So FEPI so far is 2-0. Not bad. What about FEPI versus the QQQs? Now, what are the Qs? It's just an ETF of the NASDAQ. And, it's not a covered call fund, obviously, the Qs. But I wanted to do a comparison against it anyway. So, FEPI versus the Qs, $10,000 invested. And since its inception, you would have 11,165. In this comparison, versus the Qs, you would have 11,478. Not bad at all. We never expect a covered call fund to beat out the underlying. And in this case, you could say the Qs are an underlying of it. I think that's fair to say. So, and that's with dividends reinvested, because you do get a dividend, albeit extremely small, from the Qs. So, with that said, the Qs beat out FEPI, but that's really no surprise, and that shouldn't be a big deal to anyone, because if you have covered call funds, you should understand they will never, ever outperform the underlying. Okay, next. FEPI versus the Godfather versus JEPQ. Now, how did this one fare? FEPI, 11,000. $165 versus JEPQ, $11,314. So JEPQ won this, but honestly, I expected JEPQ to be a little higher on this win. It was only like $180 difference or something. It pays less of a dividend, meaning JEPQ, than FEPI, right? So it catches better share price appreciation. I really expected it, particularly during the run of the NASDAQ, to really outpace it by a larger margin. So I was really surprised that FEPI just trailed JEPQ by a little bit. Now I'm looking for a fund like FEPI and JEPQ. I was like thinking JEPQ all the way, but since I'm trying to use it for dividends, FEPI for me right now, even though total return with dividends reinvested, JEPQ is winning. I like FEPI more because the dividends are higher. So now this one really surprised me, and I was actually blown away by this comparison. FEPI versus YMAG. Who do you think won this one? FEPI. Now YMAG started after FEPI, so we have a different total here than we had in some of the other comparisons, okay? FEPI, if you invested $10,000 when YMAG started, you would have $9,904. Sorry, I couldn't read my chicken scratch for a minute. $9,904. So you'd have actually lost money right now on FEPI had you went in when YMAG went in. Now check this out. For YMAG, 10,470. It absolutely crushed FEPI. I did not expect this. YMAG is the clear winner out of this comparison, out of all of them. Who would have thought YMAG? Not me. I don't own it. I own YMAX, which I think is a fantastic fund. And YMAG, not only is it outperforming FEPI, it's cheaper. So you could buy 2 shares of that versus the one of FEPI, actually like 2.5. I don't think I'm going to get YMAG, even though it's so far outperforming FEPI, just because it's another yield max fund, and I don't want to be so yield max heavy. I want different funds in my account with different, account managers and different, just totally different than yield max. Something that's not them, just in case something crazy ever happens with yield max. But with FEPI or with YMAG outperforming FEPI by such a large margin, I didn't expect that. So what have I found out through this limited time, amount of comparison? FEPI's not as good as some, not as bad, it's better. I would say not as bad. It's better than others. It's right near the top. YMAG is better. JEPQ is better as far as total return, but it's better than QQQY and QYLD. So it lands smack dab in the middle so far. So we'll see, we'll give this more time, and I'll do another comparison in a few months. But I found this fascinating, that it's just right now, okay. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not the best. Let me know what you think of this comparison. I'd like to do more. This is Mike, the Tactical Stock Scalper, out.